This is Africa, and the journey into its very heart, the landlocked country of Uganda.
But if you close your eyes, does it almost feel like nothing changed at all? And if you close your eyes, does it almost feel like you've been here before?
We're following in the footsteps of Annabelle and Dave.
We complement each other in so many different ways, and our strengths and weaknesses are very different, and it's almost yin and yang, and it's just worked harder.
Two extraordinary young Australians a very long way from home, who are making a difference one child at a time.
My name is John. My name is Charles. My name is Viola. I want to be a pilot.
This is the story of how Annabelle and Dave built a school. We'll meet the kids they've helped, see the lives they've transformed, and the seemingly impossible challenges they've had to overcome. Driven by an uncrushable and youthful determination that they really can change one small part of the world.
I don't want to be a lawyer anymore. I now want to go build a school in Africa.
Welcome to Katuso, a small village in central Uganda, where the pace is gentle and life is simple.
God, it is so green.
I know.
And luscious
yeah,
here.
it's incredible. It's such a beautiful place. People here are just phenomenal. So they're very easy to fall in love with, I think.
Dave moved here a few years back and runs the school day to day. Annabelle handles the fundraising side back home in Sydney, but she visits whenever she can.
It's incredible. It's incredible to see it. Yeah. I always get a bit emotional when I come back.
For all its beauty, 5 years ago, this was a place where hope was hard to find. Then Dave and Annabelle came along with a tiny idea to build a school. But first, they had things to learn themselves.
We have to level 80 square metres of land and then build a slab on it. It's just... And neither of us are builders.
Learn on the job. You know, you can't sort of learn that in university.
Yeah.
But, yeah, just take it piece by piece and, yeah, work with the local community for them to help out all around the site on every sort of position that we could possibly offer. We offered to Ugandans.
They say from little things, big things grow. And what Dave and Annabelle call their school for life started with one small classroom. Then they built another and another.
Education's the key. It's a long-term investment.
My name is Sis, and I want to be a nurse. I want to be a doctor. My name is Cross. I want to be a teacher.
Hello. Give me a high five.
Hello, Vista.
How are you?
Oh my God, these kids are so beautiful.
Here, Australian dollars have not only come a long way, but go a long way. Every brick has been bought with donations raised back home. And that money continues to help buy the books and pay the teachers like Jennifer.
How much of a difference do you think this school has made to the village, to Katuso?
Ooh, 100%? It's such a huge difference. They have a very brighter future.
There's no gym or pool or plush hall.
Okay, everybody remove your pencil from your teeth.
What matters is the simple desk, the exercise book and pencil, as well as lessons on a board.
To see a child come in, not being able to pick up a pen, not being able to speak a word of English, and then all of a sudden be able to draw and write and speak and greet you in English, and it's just the most fulfilling and rewarding thing to ever see, and there's no way that you can, you know, kind of look at it and think that it's too hard when you see those sorts of developments.
But Dave and Annabelle soon discovered that these kids weren't just hungry for an education.
I mean, you can bring the kids to school for 6-7 hours a day, but then you can send them home and they're facing, you know, different situations. And, like, maybe the first week at school, everyone was falling asleep because they didn't have enough food or, like, nutrition to stay awake during class. And so then came the food program.
And 2 square meals a day to satisfy these grumbling little tummies. For all their hard work and soul-searching, Dave and Annabelle's aim is simple and is entirely focused on these children. And sometimes they had to learn to take small, very careful steps.
When we came in, we presented the idea that the community sort of, they weren't as excited as I thought they might be. And I mean, and then we eventually got down to the reason why. And it was about 5 years ago, another white person, I think they were from America or Europe somewhere, had come in and said, listen guys, and basically said the same thing. And never came back.
We came to Uganda to see what inspired Dave and Annabelle and why they reached halfway around the world to the children of Katuso.
They have pretty much nothing, yet they're so happy all the time. They're so strong. You know, you can see children who have malaria, but they're running around the playground with, you know, a tyre as their play equipment and having the time of their lives.
But, as we'll see in a few moments, every small step forward for the children of Uganda is a triumph. In a country that has had to overcome so many challenges and chilling heartaches. Uganda is a country of vast and remarkable extremes. With its breathtaking landscape and its children with their bright, beautiful smiles, this was once known as the Pearl of Africa. But Uganda is also a nation which has been torn apart by unimaginable fear and terror. That's left a heartbreaking legacy which, decades on, still endures. It's here, on the outskirts of Kampala, where you see the very worst of human suffering. In these slum communities, there's no electricity, no sanitation, no clean water as well. Child sex abuse here is rife, and 1 in 5 people who live here is HIV positive. Looking around, it's pretty easy to see why Dave and Annabelle felt such an overwhelming need to help.
Oh, God. I mean, you look around and it's just chaos. It's so dirty. There are children drinking out of the most horrendous water conditions that you've ever seen. I guess it was just pure shock. I was quite emotional about it, to be honest, because, I mean, to see people living in these conditions is just...
You cried?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you wouldn't expect to see people living in these sorts of conditions in the 21st century.
Thousands of families with nowhere else to go squat on this government-owned land. It's filthy and dangerous.
Black magic is basically still believed by a lot of different people. There's incidences of child sacrifice where a child will be put into the slab of the building because that's supposed to be a good omen for business in the future. You've got cases of arms getting cut off of different children to be mixed into different brews for any type of thing. You've got sexual impotence, you can have HIV, you've got a whole bunch of different sort of doctors that are out there preaching these things that, you know, child sacrifice can cure, which is just obviously...
It's overwhelming.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This landlocked country is haunted by so many shadows of the past.
I am very tough, yes. And I will never give up. If I wanted to do something, I will never change my mind.
In the 1970s, terror reigned under Idi Amin. the demented dictator who's thought to have slaughtered more than 300,000 of his own people as he eliminated every imagined threat to his power.
Even now, blood lies caked on the floors. You can see it, you can smell it. It's the smell of death, a rampage of killing that went on night after night.
The world was horrified.
You'll find a lot of people, they won't speak Swahili because they identify that with Idi Amin.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he, in a strange kind of way, he was doing some amazing things before the power sort of seemed to go to his head. The HIV levels were the lowest they'd ever been. The education being provided was the best that Uganda had ever seen. But then it was sort of like, you know, he sort of got a bit power hungry and, yeah, things got out of control.
Who are you to end a war? I'm here to tell you, who are you not to?
There are modern-day horrors as well, tormenting the children of Uganda, the so-called Lord Resistance Army.
For 26 years, Kony has been kidnapping children into his rebel group, the LRA.
Joseph Kony's murderous gangs came into greater world focus with the Kony 2012 campaign. It was an internet phenomenon.
Stop the rebel group, the LRA, and their leader, Joseph Kony. And I'm about to tell you exactly how we're going to do it.
Amassing tens of millions of hits on YouTube before it quickly fizzled out.
To be honest, it worked in our favour because I think in the Western world, Uganda's not really a place that many people have a second thought about or know much about. So, you know, whilst it had, you know, its negative sort of, you know, its negativity, for us, it brought light to a country which needs help and needs help at a grassroots level and through community mobilisation.
These young Australians know Africa's plight all too well. While most people their age were partying and bar hopping, Annabelle and Dave were working in aid communities across the continent. It was a natural fit for Dave, a graduate of international development studies. For Annabelle, it was an experience that affected her so deeply, she abandoned her career as a lawyer.
To be honest, I heard everything bad that you can possibly hear. Poverty, war, disease, HIV, you know, basically that it was a complete basket case. But in a weird kind of way, it was very attractive because I think that I sort of felt like perhaps I could do something to help.
And help is what these children need.
Does she go to school?
No.
This is 8-year-old Fiona, a so-called slum kid who has big dreams for her future.
Does she know what she wants to be when she grows up?
She wants to become a lawyer.
A lawyer?
Yes.
You'd like to be a lawyer?
But living here, that dream is unlikely. Her mother is poor.
The money she earns is not enough to take the child to school, whereby what she earns it for rent and food.
What is so remarkable about these kids is that they don't want for much. Not fancy clothes or the latest toys. They just want to learn.
I was teaching English to children in this mud hut and we had nothing. Like it was 100 kids on the floor of a mud hut with no electricity, no blackboards, no pens, no paper, no desks. And every morning the kids would turn up at 7:30 so that they could sweep the compound and get everything organised and ready for the day. And for me, like, the really attractive part of it was just seeing how much the children wanted to learn and seeing how much education really meant to them.
And so germinated Annabelle and Dave's idea for School for Life. When we return, how Dave and Annabelle are making a difference. And more on the school that's become the beating heart of a once forgotten village. It's a long way from home to school in every sense. along a red dirt road that takes these children from the struggles of Ugandan village life to Annabelle and Dave's School for Life.
We're not changing all of Africa at all. We're changing one small community here.
The shiny new classrooms these two young Aussies have built are a staggering contrast to the mud huts which hold entire families. Sometimes the best way to see the hopes, the courage and the challenges of many is through the eyes of one family. This is where twin brothers and Katuso kids Dennis and Henry live. Basically, you have 8 people living in a room that's, 2 metres by 2 metres. So basically 6 kids, mum, dad, all crammed into these very small rooms. Where does mum and dad sleep? Up here?
Yes.
It's a life without any first world frills. Dennis and Henry's mum works hard every day just to feed and care for her family.
She's saying she's just surviving. Life is really hard and it's so difficult because everything is a hassle. But she has to survive because this is where she belongs.
But she has beautiful dreams for her young boys.
She wants her children to be teachers.
That's why Dennis and Henry come to the School for Life.
This is so much more than just a school, beyond the books, the learning and these gorgeous kids. This school is the beating heart of Katuso village, a place that draws the whole community together. It's something these people can be proud of, and that's exactly what Dave and Annabelle wanted.
In order to make it a community centre, we really needed to mobilise from the bottom up, i.e., the next generation. But then also, in order to, make sure that everybody felt a part of it, it was employing people and providing vocational training to adults and bringing everybody in for free healthcare and giving clean water to everybody.
Dave and Annabelle paid for this pump, which supplies fresh water for the whole village. You have no idea just how precious it is. Just as precious, a mobile medical clinic paid for by School for Life, which visits regularly.
There are a lot of fungal infection of the scalp and of the skin and rash, and a number of them are complaining of abdominal pain. So we are also going to deworm them today.
Simple health care that we take for granted. But for some, like 8-year-old Abdul, it is much, much more serious. Abdul's temperature is through the roof. Dr. Pasquin discovers he's got malaria and pneumonia. Deadly enough on their own, but Abdul is also HIV positive. His mother died from AIDS.
Good boy, good boy.
This is where those Australian dollars make the most dramatic difference, paying for the medicine that keeps Abdul alive. A young life for about the cost of a cappuccino back home.
For us, it's always been about giving a hand up, not a hand out. So to make sure that the community felt that this school was theirs, we really needed to make sure that they were mobilised and owned the school and were a part of creating the whole vision.
Dave and Annabelle have always been determined that the school, the pump, the clinic has to be sustainable.
And they've been working since 6 a.m. this morning and they're still here and it's 3 o'clock.
Everyone from the village chief down has to help.
Yeah, we've come here today because we are so happy and very excited about what the school is doing for our children, educating our children and helping the community. So we are really coming because we are happy and we are very happy to help.
This is their way of paying the school fees.
We've got 2 aspects to our farming here. We've got the subsistent plot in which we grow tomatoes, onions, bananas, cabbages, beans, and all that just gets fed straight into the school. So that's our way of reducing costs.
From the cooks to the builders to the teachers, the school only employs local people.
Even if you get people coming to do some small labour at the school, they get a sense of ownership out of that, you know? Like, they've got a sense of entitlement to the school now because they've worked here and they've put their blood, sweat and tears into the program.
Their wages are small but valuable, circulating in the village economy. The other thing doing the rounds, curiosity about Annabelle and Dave. Village gossip. Are they or aren't they?
So this isn't and never was a love story?
No, unfortunately, I think the media would love it, but yeah, no. People love to thrive on the idea that we're some kind of hot, you know, hot on each other young couple, but unfortunately, no.
Both their hearts, however, are in the same place. There is nothing quite so lovely as being a long way from home and seeing what our country can do and how far our help can reach out.
Africa has its problems. What makes you two think you can change it?
Naivety.
Naivety, yeah, no. I mean, it has massive problems, but it's about starting small.
We've seen how a tiny idea germinated into life-changing work for Annabelle and Dave, and a life-changing chance for these children in Uganda. They realised they couldn't have done this all on their own. That's why the help from Australians has been so important.
You don't need to feel guilty about what you have in Australia at all. I mean, and your problems, just because you might be having a fight with your boyfriend or girlfriend and that's a lot to you and you feel bad because there's, you know, people in Africa and all this type of stuff, because that's what a lot of friends say to me. All problems are relative, and I think there's no need to give guilt money, but if you can help out, you know, why not?
The generosity of others goes a long way in helping build a brighter future for these kids. Here's how you can do your bit.
You can give by going to their website, www.schoolforlife.org.au. And you can follow the children's progress as well via Facebook, Twitter and Instagram.
If you can give one child a positive future, then that's making a difference, you know, and that's making a difference to that child's life. And if we could create one amazing leader in Uganda, it'd be the proudest moment of our lives, I think.